So guys, this is the video that I've been making you wait ages for. It's girlfriends' opinions on hair systems. So, before I make a very important introduction to the channel, a first timer, Livivid are offering 15% off any system you'd like with them. Adam15, don't forget it, coupon code box, lavividhair.com. Also, if you're enjoying the content, please do subscribe, give it a like, it will help other people find my channel and other hair system channels within the hair system or within the YouTube algorithm. So please do whack that subscribe button. You are all so valued. So, God, maybe you should present the show.
Maybe I will.
Yeah. So this is Rachel. This is my fiance, and this is long overdue. I've been meaning to get you on this for over a year now.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we could finally do it. This is basically a your questions answered for my subscribers. They've put in a few questions which I've got here. Interestingly, there's a lot of shall we say intrigue about like women's opinions about hair systems or toupees or wigs or whatever people want to call it.
Yeah.
I think guys are always sort of interested to know what do women make of it. You know, would they judge guys for having one? You know, would they have the same opinion of a guy who's got a hair system? Would that be the same opinion of a woman who's got a unit because she's got alopecia or, you know, these kind of questions. So without further ado, let's get into it because I'm babbling. Right, okay. So the first question this is from Madara. Sorry, I'm not sure if you're male or female. I do apologise about that. So, hi, you look great. I ordered my first system and waiting for it to reach me. Suppose I'm in the company of acquaintances who know about my system and several new girls appear. I assume it probably is a bloke. I could be wrong. Suppose they know that this person's wearing a system, but not from that person, from other people.
Right.
Would they think that the person's weird?
No. I don't. Why would they? I just don't think having a system or a wig or whatever you want to call it is a weird thing. I wouldn't judge anyone for wearing one or for doing whatever they need to do to themselves to make them feel more confident. Wait, so as in...
So basically what they're getting at is, suppose that someone sort of within their group knows they wear a system, but the wearer themselves isn't the one who's told them.
Oh, right.
Do you know what I mean?
So someone else has told them?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean...
if someone told you, say one of your friends started going out with someone, right? And you found out through them that this person wears a system, would you find that weird?
No, but I would...
Or would you be curious about it? Probably a more appropriate term. Would you be curious? People are like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean...
I'd like to know more about that. So.
Yeah, I'd want to know more, but I wouldn't...
But not in a sort of judgmental way.
Yeah, I wouldn't find it weird. You know, like, when you look at people that wear wigs, like, for loads of different reasons, and I wouldn't...
For cancer or
alopecia, so I wouldn't ever judge anybody for doing that. But I always just think, like, there's no need to kind of hide the fact that you wear a system. Yeah, I wouldn't think negatively no way
towards them. You wouldn't judge them.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I'd almost feel a bit sad that they felt like they couldn't say anything. I just don't see it as an issue. And
do you think that would be more of a general consensus, you know, from females in general? Do you think, let's take, you know, your friendship group as a sample. Yeah. You know, do you think they would judge someone for whatever reason for needing to wear, either be it through low self-esteem or if they had a cancer diagnosis on like chemo and that kind of thing?
Never. I don't think any of my friends or anybody I know for that matter would judge anybody for wearing a system or a wig or whatever for whatever reason. You know, for like myself and my friends, like we get eyelash extensions, we've had hair extensions in the past. You do what you need to do to make you feel happy, confident, whatever that is. You should be able to do that without judgment. And I think girls wouldn't think anything differently.
I think what you say is really interesting, because there's a really good way to reframe this for guys, and a couple of guys have brought this up on the Facebook groups and other YouTube channels, is that, you know, women get, you know, boob jobs or hair extensions or whatever, and there's no judgment there. There's no judgment at all, you know.
No.
If someone wants to make themselves feel better, I don't think there's many guys going to be like, oh, what's wrong with them? Sort of, that's a bit weird, sort of thing. And I think as well, and guys, you know, when you watch this, please feel free to sort of write whatever you want in the comments box, any other questions, because we could do a follow-up to this at some point, which would be quite interesting when we've got more questions. But I think some guys think, oh, okay, if a guy's got cancer and he's going through chemo, it's okay to sort of wear a wig, but, you know, if you've just got male pattern baldness, for instance, it's not okay. And, you know, as Rachel's saying, and as I'm saying, as her friends would probably say, it's probably no different. I don't think the judgment changes there. And I think this perception to many guys is actually sort of in here.
Yeah.
It's, you know, and they're sort of, their inner critic is beating them up about something which isn't necessarily true. Absolutely. It's important to remember that we're in 2022 now. You know, you look at all these famous people getting hair transplants. No one bats an eyelid now.
Yeah, exactly.
Wayne Rooney got one a couple of years ago. There's plenty of other sort of celebs who get them. I know a lot of Ben Affleck wears a system. No one really cares.
I wouldn't even know.
Or would you even care?
Or that. Like, I wouldn't know, I wouldn't care. It would just not be an issue at all.
So the next question, since I've been shaving my head for quite some time, I'd have to be quite open about my system, wondering if that's a good approach. So the honest sort of approach.
Definitely, because I don't think there's anything, like we've discussed, and like I've said a million times, there's nothing wrong with it. But also, to be open and honest is what any other half wants in a relationship. And even if that's down to like how they feel about themselves, I think it's important to be upfront.
I mean, I 100% agree, especially in relationships. It's 100% it's like 100% key, basically, in terms of relationship, in my opinion, in our opinion. But it also, looking more broadly at maybe friendship groups, my personal opinion on this would be you'd have to have the trust of those people before dropping something like that, because you don't know necessarily what that person's like unless you can really trust them.
You don't know how comfortable someone is in their own skin and whether or not they're happy to share that information. But again, even with friendship groups, I'm of the opinion, if it was me, I would just be like, yeah, I have a system.
Yep.
Like, what's the deal?
I think if someone asked me about it, I'd probably just be like, yeah, you know, I wear a system, and but I wouldn't just leave it at that. I'd probably explain why I wear one. Yeah. Obviously, as you guys probably know, for my whole life, virtually, I've had a hair pulling condition, which has left massive bald patches on my head. Trichotillomania. It's a ridiculous name. It makes me sound like a maniac, or any sufferer. They need to change the name of that. But yeah, that's the reason. And also, you know, in my sort of 20s as well, I just started naturally losing hair. I don't know whether that was because of the trichotillomania, shortly known in short as trick, killing the hair follicles because they've been pulled out so much, or whether it was just, you know, natural baldness. I don't know. But anyway, I digress. So, what were your first thoughts when I told you that I wear a system? I can't even remember when I did, because it was a long time ago. I think it was early doors.
I remember it was early doors. It was like the second time that we met.
Right.
And you were at mine.
Early doors.
Very early doors. And I remember, because I remember it must have been the first time we met. I must have had touched your hair. And I was just like, oh, it didn't feel like actual
hair.
Yeah, it's weird. But
Did you feel the base? Because you can kind of... Oh, you didn't notice
No.
Because I think I had a poly I think I had a poly back then, which is like a plastic base, so it is quite prominent when you start feeling it. And
Like I probably went to be like, aren't you nice? And then I was like, oh, it feels like a bit different to actual like normal hair, but I just thought you hadn't washed it or something when I touched it. So I was like,
I am a guy.
so I was like,
Not
no real
surprising.
judgment there. So I just didn't really think about it. And then when you were like, oh, I've got something to tell you, it's a big deal. You know, I was just like, oh, are you a murderer? Are you like, is it something really bad? And you were like, oh, I'll wear a system. And I was like, I don't know what that is. I've never heard of a hair system before.
Some videos on YouTube.
Yeah, and I was
There
just
you
like,
go.
awesome. Like, it doesn't make any odds to me. I was just like, that's great.
I think the important thing, it is starting to come back to me now. The important thing is the trust. And
Yeah.
I think that is key. You don't just, I wouldn't just say it to any Dick, Tom and Harry, you know, on the street or whatever. Someone I just met, I wouldn't just be like, that I had no rapport with, because I think they'd just find that a bit overwhelming. I probably would as well. But if there's that trust there, then
Yeah, I guess
you
as
get
well,
a feeling for it.
you don't announce every single element of your life to someone you just met. So, for example, I'm not going to go up to someone and be like, oh, by the way, I have eyelash extensions.
Exactly.
Why would they care?
Exactly.
Unless someone goes, do you have eyelash extensions? I'll go, yeah. I do.
Yeah, you
I
know,
don't think there's no shame in it.
Effectively, it's exactly the same thing when you think about it in that context. So, do you sometimes actually forget he wears hair system?
Yeah. All the time.
Until
All
I
the
sort
time.
of remove it and then turn up like downstairs like bald.
I mean, even that, I'm not like, I'm not bothered. I'm just like, oh, okay, it's his clean-up day or whatever.
Clean up day, yeah.
Yeah.
Good old clean up day.
See? I know the language.
See, this is years of sort of being drummed into her. You know, the whole maintenance routine. Do you? Oh, that's an interesting one. Do you prefer to see him with a specific hairstyle? So obviously my hair's super short at the moment. Just before you jump in it, I like it like this. So it'd be
You know what
interesting
I'm
to hear
gonna
your
say.
opinion.
I don't. When was it? Maybe last summer or the summer before, you had it really short.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
I was
shorter
like,
than this.
oh.
It was shorter than this.
It was much shorter,
Yeah.
and I was like, you look like a bit of a thug,
So
a lovely thug, but you know, I preferred it, the one you had just before this one, the really long, kind of like, not Jack Grealish because his hair's really long, but
It's not that. Yeah.
kind of like slipped back.
Yeah.
Kind of. I thought that looked nice, but then I see that this is less, like,
Effort,
way less effort.
maintenance. Yeah.
You're not spending so much time in the mirror checking
Yeah,
out the
just
appearance.
checking the hairline and yeah, actually that's the reason why I've gone shorter now, because guys who like the quiff look, and I love the quiff look, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot more time spent sort of like making sure that it's sort of looking good and it's looking presentable at the front. You don't have any glue sort of below the hairline. It's a bit of a nightmare at times.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of my favourite looks. But then I also like when you're like shaved your head. The amount of times when I'm like, oh, just keep your head shaved because I really like it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, but
I know that some guys do. I've got some friends within the community who, like, in summer they just go full on bald.
yeah,
Because it's like too hot or whatever, or they just can't be asked.
I find it quite sexy.
I haven't breached that sort of chapter in my hair system journey yet.
No.
But hey, who knows? I might.
Maybe in the
this
future.
Summer. Maybe this summer.
Maybe.
Who knows? And then this is the final one. Sort of touches a little bit on one of the earlier questions, but you might want to answer it slightly differently. At what stage during the getting to know each other phase do you think's a good time to bring up hair system, in your opinion? Obviously, ours very early doors. What's your opinion on that? Say a guy is sort of brand new into a, not even relationship.
It's like
we're
dating.
talking dating, courting, right? Do you think the best time for them to bring it up, because it's obviously a big deal for a lot of people, and I think for some people they can feel like it really is a game changer, or a deal breaker, more specifically. So when do you think is a good time, an ideal time, if there ever was one?
I don't know. Again, it goes back to the whole, you don't need to tell your Tom, Dick and Harry's about your whole life story. So you don't need to go in on the first date and be like, by the way, this is important information.
That's a bit full on, isn't it?
I think as soon as you're confident that the other person is a match, or that you're feeling like things are going well, then if you feel open enough to tell them, because it goes back to the honesty thing as well. The more that you're not saying something, the more it just kind of feels like you're hiding stuff. And you know, like from living with you, I know how much like time you can spend doing your hair and like maintenance and stuff. So if you're dating somebody,
impossible.
Yeah, you can't.
Especially if you're living with them, like that. Even
you
more
can't
impossible.
hide that. Like you really can't. And
why are there all these bits of glue on the carpet?
Oh my God, that drives me insane. That's my worst thing about your hair systems. I'm like, do what you like, but why does it get on the carpet? Why? Why is this a thing?
It's a messy job. Job. I think 100% agree with you. And I think that another important thing to add here is if they're not willing to accept that this is you and this is your life choice,
then bye.
They're probably not the right person for you. And don't take it personally, because it's not something to do with you, it's their problem.
Yeah.
So they're probably not right for you. But I thought that was a really important point to make, because, you know, it goes back to, you know, we do want to be fairly cautious with who we tell. You know, it's quite sensitive information for a lot of people.
And I guess if you've got, like, for yourself, you know, yours is as a result of trichotillomania, so that's a whole different...
That name's so much, so ridiculous.
So long. But as in, like, that's a whole backstory in itself.
Yeah.
It's not just saying, I don't have much hair, so I wear a hair system. It's, this is why, So, I can understand why people might feel like holding back, but I think honesty is key, and I really don't think that girls would be bothered or guys. I just don't.
And I think that it's a really good option for, and guys, we need to get so much better at this. It's a really good opportunity to be vulnerable. And contrary to popular belief, vulnerability is actually a really, really sort of powerful trait, as it were, to have within a relationship, within a friendship group. I'm certainly learning to sort of cultivate that more and more and more within relationship, within friendship groups, and honestly, it's enriched everything so much. You know, so guys, it's an opportunity. I don't think it's something to be worried about. I think as long as you have that, you feel you have that trust. Be vulnerable. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually a good thing.
I'll ask you a question.
Go on then. Is this on the list? I don't know.
No, it's not on the list. What would you do if I said that I was wearing a system?
I would be exactly the same as when I told you I had a system. At the end of the day, I've always been of the opinion that people should be entitled to do what they need to do to make them feel better about themselves. And with things like male pattern baldness as a classic example, people are like, oh, but you look fine like this, or you look fine like that, you look fine bald or whatever. That doesn't actually often change how the person feels inside. The most important thing is what the individual feels.
I remember saying that to you when I saw you with your head shaved, and I was like, that looks really nice, and you were like, yeah, but you don't get it. And then the more I kind of thought about it, I was like, no, I don't. Like, it's the same with me when I don't know, if I'm not wearing makeup or whatever, I don't feel like I look myself, and you're like, but you look fine. I don't feel fine, I don't feel confident, so I get it.
So it's a fair point, and it works both ways.
100%.
You know? So I think that's really important to take on board. That's all we've got time for, guys, but I really hope you found that super, super helpful. Thank you, Rachel, for coming onto my channel.
Thanks for having me.
And I'm sure everyone watching has found this super, super helpful. If you'd like to check out my other stuff, there's another video I did which sort of touches on this as well, called 3 reasons guys go for hair systems over the bald look. So that will pop up on your screen right now. Please do check that on, as it really acts as a nice segue. So do check that out, and I'll speak to you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.